NZ Aerosports, Icarus Canopies, now Gyro. That's right, we've rebranded, and Gyro is our next generation. It honours our founder, as that's the name we knew him by, but Gyro also marks the start of a new chapter. And not to be biased, but it's going to be fucking epic. Long story short, we're more us than ever, so if you're new to the sport, or even a Sky God Ninja Turtle, welcome. I think our valiant leader Lucy, Gyro's daughter, says it best.
And we still got that fuck yeah attitude. Rebrand! Woo!
Rebrand woo indeed, Lucy. Anyway, head over to gyro.com for more info and get amongst you legends.
I was 19, broke, unemployed, and sold my girlfriend's canopy for drug money. So I thought I better sew her a new one. What a sentence, and what a story. This describes the humble yet outrageous beginnings of NZ Aerosports, the home of Icarus Canopies, in the words of our founder himself. From getting a paratrooper toy from his mom, watching parachutes at the DZ as a 6-year-old, jumping off the wharf with a parachute made from bed sheets, doing his first jump at 16, sewing his first canopy on a borrowed machine at 19, and starting to sell parachutes out of a garage in 1986, Paul Gyro Martin had an undying love for the sky. Our company started with one man with the wildest of spirits and a true blue sky dream, a renegade. In the time that Gyro created and ran the Icarus Canopies brand until he passed away in 2017, he pushed everything he had to its limits. We miss him, and we always will. Gyro is the next generation of NZ Aerosports. It honors our founder, of course, because it was the name we all knew him by, but Gyro the rebrand also marks the start of a new chapter, our next jump. Gyro is the space between sound and silence, art and science, chaos and calm. Gyro is a state of epic tranquility that transcends understanding. That moment, in the door, in free fall, mid-swoop, where nothing but the present exists. A perfect balance of euphoria and thrill. Gyro captures our passion for flying and our commitment to designing break-the-fucking-rules canopies that deliver pilots pure, wild flight. Hey gang, so I got a new book out. It's called The Upside of Fear, and it's exactly what you think it's about. It's about the good side of, well, getting scared. In it, we talk not only about the science and biology behind fear, but the psychology as well. And it's not just coming from me, it's coming from some of the best in the sport. Omar Alhigelan, Jeff Provenzano, Maxine Tate, and so many more have contributed their sometimes terrifying stories to the book to help you overcome your fear. So head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com. You're going to find the link to the book there, as well as the other books. It's available in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook right now.
Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go! Back in the can for another edition of the Lunatic Fringe podcast, and a familiar face from, actually, it's been quite a few years now. Tell me, who the fuck are you, and what do you do?
Ciao, my name is Roberta Mancino. I'm professional skydiver, and also I work as a stunt woman for movies and commercials.
You've been doing this for quite some time now.
Yes, it's been a while. It's been 23 years. And I still love it. I love to fly. I love to skydive. I love to jump with people. I love to organize events.
Well, when you and I had first met, I think was around the time that I kept seeing a lot of jumps that you had been doing, both skydiving and base jumping. You had done some really cool base jumps, I think, in a gown and stuff that was really quite eye-catching, especially at the time.
Yes, those jumps, they were mostly my ideas. I was very lucky to be sponsored by GoPro. So I told them what I wanted to do, and they love it. The idea that was very different. I mean, not many girls jump off a cliff with high heels. and a dress.
That's very
So
true.
I went to talk to Roberto Cavalli, and because I worked with Roberto Cavalli before as a model, and they also loved the idea, and we combined the two things together, skydiving and modeling, and that's how we made the project happen.
It's so funny because that's not what would immediately jump to mind as a partnership would be between designers for, high fashion clothing and base jumping.
No, no, no. And they were so scared. The whole time they told me, please don't get hurt, don't break your feet jumping with the high heels. And well, I didn't land with the high heels. I have a technique I learned in many, many years of, stunts. For example, when we filmed Iron Man 3, all the girls, we were jumping with the high heels, but luckily we were landing on the beach on the sand. So sometimes I will just land like that, but then sometimes I learn how to put my shoes on my wrist. So I will just open the parachute, look, everything was fine, do my slider, and then quickly take the shoes off, and then put the shoes on my wrist, and then land like that.
I
So
mean, you'd have to get creative
takes a
when you're
little
doing
bit
stuff
of
like that.
practice.
That's very cool. Now, hey, before we get too deep into what you have been up to in regard to stunts and stuff, let's jump all the way back to the beginning of how you got started, not necessarily just in skydiving, but in anything so-called extreme.
Well, I started skydiving because I saw a video when I was 16. Was actually Stefania Martinengo that she
Uh,
became my instructor in freestyle. She was my teacher. She followed me in the competitions. She helped me with everything about freestyle. I still jump with her. We are still friends. She invited to my wedding, of course.
awesome.
Getting married, so and I mean, that was my first video that I saw, and I was just like, wow, I wish I can dance in the sky just like her. And because I was a dancer when I was very young, when I was little, I was just 4 years old
Mm.
when I started, and that was my dream to fly, to dance in the sky. And then I saw another video of another friend that was jumping off Brento. This is back in the day when we didn't have a wingsuit. We didn't even have a trekking suit. In fact, he was jumping with a yellow, really, really baggy suit, and he was already flying on his back. I don't know if you remember this video, Chronicle 3.
Very well.
That's Simone Polera, my friend from Italy. And luckily, he was a friend of my mom. He was living next to my mother's house.
Mm.
So we all became really good friends. And so that was two things that I saw in the beginning, base jumping and freestyle. And I guess those videos really inspire me to continue and to, follow this career. Also, my dad lives only 3 kilometers from the drop zone. So he used to play music. He had a small band, and in the weekends he was playing the music in this place where the skydivers they were landing right in front of the restaurant in Nettuno. So
So you were kind of surrounded by it without even.
exactly, somehow, and no, nobody in my family fly. My dad, my mom, and my mom only flew with me. She did the two tandems, but they were scared of airplanes to fly, so very unusual from my family to have
Sure.
somebody there.
Now,
That,
the video that you
yeah.
would have seen Stefania in, that was the one where she was doing the ballroom dancing with Olaf, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
I vividly remember that because, like a lot of people in my generation of skydiving, I started 29 years ago almost. Olaf Zipser and Omar Al-Hijlan and that crew were just,
Uh-huh.
they were gods. And I
Oh yeah.
remember, seeing that
I mean, they
video.
still are. They
Oh,
still
yeah.
fly amazing.
Oh, absolutely. But to see that video specifically where 2 seconds into it, I knew they were ballroom dancing
Hmm.
immediately on their heads, upside down with complete and total control. I'm like, they're they're fucking dancing. That is
Yeah.
insane. I was absolutely floored by it.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely amazed. Now,
I think they inspire many, many people for sure.
oh yeah. Now,
I want to tell you something.
please.
The other day I was cleaning up my room because I just got back to Italy, and every time I come back, I clean up. So I always find something from the past, and I found a receipt with 50 school jumps with Olaf in Paoki.
Wow.
And I almost cry. I was like, oh my God. Because I feel now it's easier, than before. You can go in any drop zone and you can find a good coach, somebody can fly really good. But when I started in Italy, not many people were flying like that.
Mm,
So I had to go to US.
sure.
Um, and I mean, it was special just to see this paper.
Now, when you began skydiving, what did your family think of it? Because it's not a typical
Oh, yeah.
thing.
They thought I was crazy, of course. They tried to convince me not to do it. I didn't need to do it. Why? But my mom, she's not here anymore, unfortunately, but she was very, very supportive.
Mm,
She was, I mean, she loved it so much to watch me fly, to watch me dance, to wingsuit. Well, she came with me in many, many places. She was in Switzerland with me when I was base jumping during one competition, one wingsuit competition. She watched me in Brento. I pulled right in front of her. She was sitting at the bar. She was in Panama with me before I did the project in between the buildings. She was there. I was trying to get the permission, and she came there to support me.
mm.
Uh, I mean, I don't know how many moms in the world will have done that, and she was with me in many, many events. And of course, at the drop zone all the time. She came
Sure.
to Dubai and she did a tandem in Dubai. She was in San Francisco and she did another tandem there. And I mean, she was the best. And my dad, unfortunately, never even tried
Mm,
to jump, but I think he likes to watch me fly. He
mm.
just very shy.
Well,
He's
I would
afraid.
imagine, especially with a daughter, I would imagine that once you're in the very beginning, you would just be terrified. Because especially as a dad, that's not just my kid, that's my little girl. But I
Yes.
would imagine as those years go by and you've shown year in, year out that you are experienced and know what you're doing and are continuing forward in the sport, he must just get more and more proud and less nervous.
Yes, yes. I just think for him it's hard to say something because he's afraid if something happened, he could have been involved with my decision. But I know he loves to watch me fly too because, well, first of all, I catch him watching few videos, and then well, when Black Widow came out on the movie theater, we went together to watch. And also when Iron Man 3 and many other commercials that I did also in Italy. So he was able to come with me to the premiere
Mm,
or and everything I've done in the TV in Italy, he saw me fly on the news so he was smiling. So
that's
he
really
still
cool.
think I'm crazy, but he
Now,
accepted.
now you started all your training. You said your dad lived 3 kilometers away from the drop zone. So is that the drop zone that you did all your initial training in?
Yes, I did my RFF and I still go there. In fact, this summer, because I'm getting married, I'm very busy. I have to be around my town. I will be there doing some coaching. I'm doing a nice, fun event coaching and also doing a raffle for LMB, my sponsors, in few weeks to help people to win an altimeter.
Nice,
And
nice. Now, which drop zone is this?
Skydive Nettuno, which is a crazy fly, is the name
Okay.
of the drop zone. Yeah,
Very,
it's
very cool.
out of Rome.
Just south of Rome. It's got to be
Mhm.
stunningly beautiful.
Oh yeah, it's over the sea. and we have a lots of trees. It's very nice.
It's got to be. Now, so you did your initial training there, but obviously you said you ended up in the States training with Olav a bunch and all that. And of course, especially at the time that you were really getting into it, skydiving was just enormous in the States, so much more so than anywhere else, I think. So what came next for you when you had gotten through student status? When did you decide, hey, I want to do this? Because you said you also worked as a model. So was there a choice to be made? Like, shit, I got to pick?
No, if you want, I can explain to you quickly how
Please.
everything went. I was doing modeling. Of course, modeling, it's easy. There is no risk. But even my modeling, actually, I had some risk because since I was so willing to do some stuff that other model will never do it, so I end up to hang below an helicopter with a rope with no harness. I end up to be on top of the Faraglioni in Capri, in Italy, where, I mean, you are at the edge of the cliff with no harness and ropes and nothing. So I did also, let's say, some modeling, some extreme modeling, because they knew I was skydiving. So they would put me on top of anything. Oh, let's go on top of these mountains in the Dolomites without nothing, and I was fine. I was used to. And then with modeling, to be honest, I got bored. It was after many years was a little boring,
Mm,
and I spoke to my manager about to combine the modeling with skydiving and everything I was doing on the TV. Will be cool, if I can create something a little different, also something that people, when they see, anybody can watch, a grandma, a little kids, that's the idea of the high fashion video, that basically everybody will see and love it,
sure.
because there is Italy, beautiful country, there is a woman, and there is, of course, extreme sport, but also fashion and beauty and,
Sure.
some artistic idea. So that was for everything I've done. I try to stay on this type of idea for anything, for commercials, for TV shows. And I have to say, it worked really well. I didn't expect it, to be honest. In the beginning, I was like, I'm probably just do modeling or just do skydiving, but I never thought together.
Mm.
So then after we did one job in the sky and was for a stylist, we start to get so many requests from many, many companies. Can she jump with this fashion dress? Can she do a jump with those shoes? So it was like, everybody love it. And so I end up to do so many fashion, let's say a runway in Brento, for Cavalli. Then we did a Harper Bazaar, which is a really big name of a magazine. And the stylists, they wear Dolce Gabbana, Versace, Armani. I mean,
It's got to
so.
be when you're taking on a gig like that with some of the outfits that I've seen you jump in, there's got to be a lot of planning that has to go into the safety side of things. Because when you're jumping in a fucking ball gown, shit can go sideways real quick.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It can, I mean, depends how is the dress, but
Sure.
yes, if it's a long dress. For sure was very tricky to jump off a mountain with a base gear, with a long, long dress. It was a bit sketchy for sure, but that's why I went to practice in skydiving to figure out how the wind will move the dress. And, because I can only go head down from the cliff and the dress will stay, down. Or I could go tracking, but I needed to make sure they wouldn't come up to my pilot chute. So I had to do some training for that. But the most difficult part was to go to the showrooms and to talk to the stylist because they needed to do some adjustment. For example, you don't see the leg straps in my videos. So we had to do holes on the side of the harness
Mm.
to put the harness in the dress. And and that was a little weird, to tell to, I don't know, Roberto Cavalli, hey, your beautiful dress that costs like, I don't know, 10,000 euros. We have to put some hole and damage the dress. So, and with the guys was even worse because when we did those base jumps, they are like also very, muscles and buff and they destroyed the costume.
Oh,
I
sure.
mean, we gave back the outfit and they were in pieces and destroyed. And so that was the only issue. But for safety, once you understand and you go skydive and you practice, it's the same. Of course, in base jumping, you have to be really quick.
Sure. That would be kind of funny to try and explain to a high fashion designer what terminal velocity will do to clothing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, people can't wrap their head around it. I remember as a little baby skydiver going out and jumping. I think I had some type of a windbreaker on that was not meant to be in the air and landed with it just in tatters. People just don't
Uh-huh.
understand. So I can imagine with a high fashion gown, it's not
Yeah.
necessarily going to do too well.
Yeah.
So you ended up in the States, you end up doing all this training and everything, and you start doing both. But when did the stunt stuff come in? I mean, you've been able to do quite a lot of stuff that people might not know about that was very high profile.
Yeah, well, that was way later.
Sure.
In fact, I like to tell the story because some people only sees what is now, but in reality, it took me like 10 years
Sure.
before I even start to do something, in the movies or in the big commercials. And before that, I was competing in freestyle. I was competing in wingsuit, in base jumping. I was doing the world records, skydiving. I was doing all the sequentials, free flying. So, it's easy to see now the videos because we have Instagram. But 10 years before, you don't see anything about.
Sure.
That's what was the time of practice and training, and it's funny because sometimes my students they tell me, "Oh, but you don't pay the jumps. They sponsor you." Yes, they do now, but before
Now.
I did 1,000 coaching jumps in the beginning. And I mean, yeah, now no, but
Sure.
before I invested just like everybody else to
Now,
to, to
when
training.
when you got into wingsuiting, especially base jumping and wingsuiting, did you tell your family about that?
Um, to be honest, no, I didn't. I thought was not a good idea to make them worry
Sure.
what they gonna do anyway. They're not gonna stop me once I decide I'm gonna go for. But my mom, she was the only one she knew, and she, like I told you, she came with me to a competition. So she was very open-minded
Mm.
compared the rest of my family. But imagine to tell to my grandma, she's now 98. And sometimes I show her the wingsuit. And I'm like, no, nah, this is a wingsuit. And I go like this with the wings and I show her you fly like this. And she doesn't understand.
Sure.
He's like, what do you mean you fly? I'm like, yeah, grandma, I fly. I jump off a cliff. And then I show her the video. And when I show the video, she can see it. I think she understands, but I don't think she thinks it's real,
Sure.
you know?
I
That's
mean, that'd be especially
Purnana, she has a short memory.
well, and for someone her age, that's a lot to try and wrap your head around.
Yes, exactly.
I
She
mean,
doesn't even understand what is a microwave or,
yeah, then
or a dryer machine. I tried to explain to her last year. Well, she's gonna be 98. I told her, in US they have a laundry machine and then they have a dryer machine, and she couldn't figure it out. Her head, I think, was too much, for her.
mm, it's well, I have Italian heritage as well, and both my Italian great grandmothers were the same, and my grandmother was a little bit more modern, but my great grandparents, no. No, and they were from Italy, and they was very old school and very traditional.
Mhm. Yeah, even in my house, my dad doesn't have a microwave, and we don't have a dryer machine. We wash the clothes and we put it on top of the balcony upstairs. It's still
I
like
mean,
that in Italy.
I suppose the image that you have of a standard Italian household is there'd never be a microwave in there because there's no way a self-respecting Italian would use a microwave. They're going to cook it properly.
Oh yeah, no, no, and they do not trust
Yeah,
the
no.
microwave at all. My grandma says always it's heavy. It's something heavy. I'm like, who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah,
We
fair
will
enough.
know later what those things do.
So after all the training and all the practicing and everything, you started getting into competition. You started the base jumping, the wingsuit competitions, the base jumping competitions. I'm really interested to hear about that. When did you decide that's me? I need to go do that.
Well, in 2009, I started to wingsuit, I started to base jump. And then it was the right time when people started to training really, really hard in wingsuit because it was the beginning of, proximity flying and also, right later, I don't remember how many years later, but the WWL, the World Wingsuit League, came out thanks to Jeff Corliss that made this happen. But I mean, it was the only, I mean, we only had a few wingsuit competitions, but then all of the sudden was the World Wingsuit League, was the base competition in Lauterbrunnen in Switzerland, and then a competition in Brazil, in Pedra da Onça. So, they started to have a more competition. And then in skydiving, we had competitions in Paris. We had the Red Bull Aces, and that was the coolest
Hmm.
competition ever,
Now
I
that
think.
was the one with the markers flying under the helicopters, right?
Uh-huh, yes, yes,
Oh
yes.
man, that looked so intense just
Oh
as an
my God,
observer.
that competition was amazing. And we had this opportunity. I'm so lucky that I was around, wingsuiting already at that time. And I believe I was the only woman in the beginning. And then I think we did one more, and then we were just two girls. But anyway, that competition was the most fun
Had to
and
be.
and exciting. You can imagine, right? To go around, those pylons under the helicopters, and yeah, it was very cool.
Oh,
That was my favorite, and of course WWL, because that place in China, it's is beautiful, and we got to jump there, and then. One year I saw Jeb flying through the hall. That was the first time, somebody has done that. And so it was all new, now it's like, there are more videos around, more people have done those things. But imagine when you watch this the first time and
Well, the funny thing is, though, I get the same feeling from watching those old videos as I do from all the new stuff going on. I mean, the fellas flying under the London Bridge just this past
oh yeah,
month,
amazing. Yeah.
absolutely spectacular, but I'm just as blown away by all the stuff that I saw being done when it was really starting to take shape 10, 12 years ago, I mean,
Yes.
and you can see as an observer and someone that's been in the sport a while, you see this amazing progression. And I hate to say it, but almost by the time I see them fly under that bridge, it's of course they're doing that. Of
Yeah.
course, because that's just how good they've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Yeah, now it's a bit more obvious, no? Because it's been seen and you can guess so what they're gonna do next,
Yeah,
right?
but somebody always pushes it. I mean, you've got guys flying through volcanoes and under bridges and all just this
Yeah,
insanity. It's absolutely spectacular to watch. It really is.
yes, yes. And now with those wingsuits, you can do so many things. Like when I flew over the volcano in Chile, I couldn't do that because we had a wingsuit. They were like an old model,
Mm,
and our wingsuit was not able to go up. Like now you can flare up and get some altitude, but before we couldn't go up in a wingsuit.
sure.
So it's very cool to see also how the wingsuit are progressing, and not just the training from the guys, but also, Squirrel. I mean, they've been doing some incredible wingsuit, and you can do everything with those wingsuits.
Oh yeah.
For me, the most fun was free flying in a wingsuit because you can do a jump that, you exit, you go head down, you carve around somebody, and then you keep going in another jump, and then you can go flat, you can go steep, you can do acrobatics, you can do so much,
The
and it's a lot of fun.
first time I ever got to see that in person, face to face, I was just doing a solo on a day off in Dubai. And it was Micah and one of the other Maktoum guys in their wingsuits and asked what I was doing. I'm like, I'm just falling straight down. Go on your head, stay on your head, go straight down. Okay, so out the door I go, and the next thing I know, they're just all around me and circling
Yeah.
and fly up and zip around and pirouette, and I was just absolutely blown away by it. I'd never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
So speaking of, how did you end up going to Dubai? Because that's where we met, and you were there for
Yeah.
quite some time.
Yeah, so I end up to go to Dubai because Noah was there, and Noah was my ex-boyfriend. So I decided to move there because he was working for Skydive Dubai. But also we had the opportunity to do a team. Took a while, took like maybe 2 years for me to get in the wingsuit team because I was a woman, so they only had the guys in the team. And in fact, I was not in the base jumping team, but I was in the wingsuit team for the demos, for the king, for the events at
Mm.
night, especially at night. So we were training. We had the helicopter for us. Was such a cool time of my life, and I always have to say thank you to Fred and Vince
Mm.
and Mike Swanson too, because they were the ones really push for me to be part because
Nice.
they didn't want to have a woman. They rather had a guy instead. But my friends, they spoke so much. No, no, she should be in the team. And at that time, when they did the event at the Princess Tower, also there they had a meeting, and they wanted to have a girl, because sometimes when there is a girl around, it's more funny. It gets a little silly too.
Sure.
And so, but I remember that they had to talk to push for me again. Because I was very experienced at that time. I was base jumping all the time. So no reason why I shouldn't be, but it's another type of country, and
Well, and that was kind of a pivotal event, the Princess Tower one. What was the name of that? Dream Jump, I think.
it was the dream jump, the Princess Tower. That
Yeah,
was
and that,
the dream jump, yeah.
the tallest residential building in the world, at least at the time, and they built you guys a massive platform on the top of it, along with the world's tallest zip line, and just kind of let all you guys go nuts. And there's
Yeah.
great video of all you guys clearly just having a blast in the most ridiculous playground you've ever seen. In fact, I just saw a clip of that jump the other day, and somebody getting thrown off doing a handstand off the platform, and
Uh-huh.
it had to have been so much fun.
Yeah, and that was the best. I mean, the best slick base jumping event for me. We free flying off that building. I mean, we were doing everything.
Yep.
Head down, cartwheel. Oh, and also I got to jump a wingsuit. The last jump I think I did a wingsuit jump. And
Amazing.
yeah, it was amazing. And we did the zip line. I can never forget. I did this zip line jump. One was with Miles, and
Nice.
we were screaming so loud. And that night I had absolutely no voice.
It was funny because I remember vividly when that was going on because it was actually quite a long event. I think you guys jumped all week.
Yes.
And I lived in a building just two buildings down. So the first day or two, of course, like everyone else, I'd go out and stand there slack-jawed watching everybody jump off the building. But by day three, I'm like, it's just my fucking friends jumping off the building. And I would hear people screaming and hear parachutes opening and not even look up because you guys were jumping that much.
Yes, yes. We were jumping the whole day nonstop as much as we wanted. And I think we did a jump. I don't remember if we jumped at night too. But yeah, mostly was during the day.
Yeah.
And for me, the special jump was, of course, the zip line because I never done it before. And I don't think they had so many zip line of buildings. I believe they did another one in Panama.
Mm.
And after that, but the wingsuit. I mean, when you jump off a building in a wingsuit, you feel like a superhero, you know?
Eh,
No, this is my house, and I'm gonna just go off my house and fly away with my wingsuit. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It was super fun.
Well, and Dubai was so good about letting everybody, especially people like you that were kind of on the cutting edge, do all these ridiculously amazing things. I mean, I don't know how many times I've dropped jumpers over the marina so that Micah and the boys could fly their wingsuits through the damn buildings or all the wonderful, crazy stuff that was going
Yeah.
on. It was such a spectacular time, especially in Dubai.
Yes, it was. They really did a good for, for the skydivers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, big time. Now, all of that obviously eventually transitioned into some of the more high profile stuff that you've done. You've mentioned a couple of different movies that you've been a part of. How did that start?
That was I don't know, was a combination of being lucky, being in the right place in the right time, but also I believe the training, because I mean the people that they were doing the movies, they were either some of my coach back in the day for free flying, and then of course I stay around in the same drop zones. I was training together. I give you an example. John DeVore was my coach, my free fly coach. Mike Swanson was my free fly coach. And then later we did the world records together. We did some sequentials together. So, when you are around and you jump in the same drop zone or you see each other in different events, then when a movie comes up, they think, oh, who can have the skills to do this or that?
Mm,
But also, I will say luck, because also the way how you look,
sure,
it's important. Because
sure.
let's say the actress or the actor, if it's a man, it doesn't matter, is super tall, and I'm very short. I'm only, what, 5'3"?
Mm,
So I'm a little tiny girl, and so I cannot do stunt double for somebody that is super tall, right? And it
sure,
happen for the guys too. So it's also a luck
sure.
with the way how you are. And for example, for Black Widow, was really funny because when Luke Akis told me there is, they're gonna do a movie and they are looking for somebody to do stunt double for Scarlett Johansson, and he told me, please send me your measurements, and I took the measurements and I sent it. And I remember I was talking to my best friend and I told her, I don't know if they're gonna pick me for this. I really hope, it was one of my dream. I was
Mm,
like, really, really hope I get to do stunt double for her. And then she told me, oh, let's check. Let's see what are the measurements of her. Let's look online. And oh my God, we went online and I was exactly like, I mean, maybe 1 centimeter less or more,
mm.
but we were the same.
Yeah, she's
So,
teeny.
yeah, she's a little girl too. So I was like, oh wow, then I started to hope. And I
Oh,
was like, I hope they call me. And then I start to pray my mom. My mom just passed away before, and in fact, I was a mess.
Mm,
I was emotionally all over the place.
sure.
And I thought, now what do I do if they pick me? It's my dream, but maybe I can't function because I was crying, I was sad all the time. And then when Luke told me, you got the job, then I just felt so happy.
Sure.
I thought my mom did something, she made this happen too. I mean, and if you think about, of course she did, because, I guess all my training and everything, my whole life is because
Sure.
of mother. And, I have to always thanks to her. And so I went to the job and I had no idea what I needed to do because they don't tell you everything.
Mm,
They show up and they start to say, okay, we're gonna go this scene, we're gonna do this, you have to do these things, and then some stuff was easy, some stuff was very difficult, some was dangerous, there is mix of everything.
sure.
And at night was very hard for me because once I was going back to the hotel and I was alone, all the adrenaline comes down and there I was maybe crying or
Sure.
but then during the job I was so excited, I was so happy and everybody knew that my mom had just passed away only a few months before. So and they were, they are my best friends at the
Sure.
end. So they helped me and everything went smooth.
Which is awesome. And I mean, it
Yeah.
turned out to be a hell of a big project, right along with Iron Man 3. I mean, you were one of the ones that was hanging off the cable with everybody else, weren't you?
Yes, yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't you in a line of people all holding hands and you were supposed to
Yes.
be falling?
Uh-huh.
How in the hell?
It
Because
was so funny.
it
That
had
was
to be.
the most funny scene or job that I have done because they wanted to make so real. So the director was telling us to scream. And we were all screaming from the beginning, it was like a cable, a zip line,
Yeah, yeah.
very long zip line, and was how do you call a crew?
True?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we were on top and was really high, and
Uh,
we had to crash in the water. So even when we were about to touch the water, even before, we were still screaming. I remember I end up to drink so much water too, because I will drop in the water with my mouth open, and some people, slam the
oof.
ear or yeah, it was a really funny
I mean,
experience.
it's got to be funny for you to watch those movies and look back and see what you did and then remember what it was actually like behind the scenes.
Yes, yes, yes. I wish I had more videos and more pictures because I mean, such a good memories. But they are all here in my head forever.
Sure. Well, and Hollywood's pretty secretive when they do their filming as well.
Yeah,
So I would imagine that if you're running around with a cell phone, they're not going to be terribly happy
yeah, no,
about it.
no, no, no. We
Yeah,
we get to do a little bit, just a bit, and we are
sure.
not allowed to show
Sure.
until the movie is out.
Yeah, of course. I flew some of the stunt stuff that Craig O'Brien had done with Tom Cruise when they did the one of the Mission Impossible movies, and no one was allowed to even have their phones.
Mhm.
The crew took pictures with him and whoever wanted, but weren't allowed to have them until after the movie was out because they're like,
Yeah.
no, 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 you're not even allowed to know we're
Yeah,
here.
it's privacy because you are not supposed to show what is going to happen in the movie if it's not out yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
I understand.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, so do I. Absolutely. Now, so you've done all of that as well, but you've moved on to a lot of coaching and still quite a bit of traveling and jumping. Are you still competing as well?
No, I'm not competing, and I have to say, in base jumping, a lot of things changed for me. Like I still base jump. Like last summer, I was in Norway, doing the heli boogie.
Mm,
Same event I've been going, for a few years. I was there before, many years ago. And to be honest, it changed so much because, well, most of my friends are not here anymore, and most of my friends stopped to base jump.
Yeah.
So I end up to be there alone with lots of base jumpers, but I had no idea who they were.
Mm,
I only knew a few of them. And I just got a bit sad because
sure.
I can remember my friends on the cliff, and I had all those memories, and it wasn't the same energy, was not the same spirit. And I feel also some people base jump now just to do some videos,
Sure.
influencers or whatever, for Instagram, and it's really not the same. But I mean, it was still fun. I love it. I did a lots of free flies, slick jumps. And but I just don't know if I like the base jumping events anymore. I prefer go alone or go with some friends that the only few that they are still jumping.
Sure. Well,
And
I mean, as long as you've been in and around base jumping, it's the same with me and all the friends that I know through skydiving that became base jumpers. You end up saying goodbye to a lot of people because that was the generation that
yeah,
they didn't start the base jumping craze, but they were absolutely pioneers in helping push it forward, which also meant that they were doing increasingly more dangerous stuff. And of course, you would know when proximity flying started.
yeah,
Jesus, I mean, I can't even count how many, friends or acquaintances are gone
yeah,
now
so
from
many.
that. Yeah. So I can imagine. And I don't base jump, but I can sympathize. I absolutely
And
can.
Brento became a drop zone. When I
Mm,
was there in the beginning, we used to hike. Now there is a bus. I mean, it's nice because you don't have to hike anymore, but it's full of people. So the sport is different. It's
sure.
not, you don't find a peace there alone in some
Sure.
places. Of course, you can always find a cliff to jump that you're there alone, and or with just a friend, two of you. But I don't know. It's just to don't have those friends around, and just maybe start a friendship again, and then something happen. I
Sure.
don't know. I'm not.
Yeah, no, no. I
I
completely
became a
agree.
little cold, in this environment. Like in skydiving, I have a lot of friends.
Sure.
I'm still, I do all the events. I organize with Luis Prinetto. We still, we were just in Panama, and now we organize an event here in Italy. We are still really good friends, and in skydiving, it's easy. You go to the drop zone, and they are still jumping. But in base jumping, last year was really hard for me.
Sure.
I In Norway, I felt really like, wow, I'm still jumping, and nobody was there that I really knew.
Sure.
It was all completely new. I knew just few people, but I don't know.
I mean, everything has its time, right? And
It is what it is.
yeah, and having gone as big as you did for as long as you did, it's transitioning to the next thing is not a bad thing. It's just what's coming
Yeah.
next.
Yes.
Speaking of, you're in Italy for a couple of big events. First off, you're getting married.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
It,
you. And good things I've experienced on organizing events because I'm organizing the whole wedding. I'm putting people together in the hotel, and the groups are based on what they do. There is one hotel, they are the skydivers. One hotel, they are the base jumpers. One hotel is the family. So
Nice. Now, is your fiance a jumper?
yes, he's a very, very good skydiver.
Very
We
good.
jump together. Not much. I wish we can jump more, but I'm always busy coaching or organizing our event. And he's a professional skydiver, but he's an engineer. So he sometimes he does coaching or organizing also camps, but it's not his main job. So, but when we can jump together, it's very nice.
Nice. I bet it is.
Special, so
Now
much
you're also there to do some coaching, and then you've got an event coming up. Is that correct?
Yes, we have the first Vector Festival in Italy for the first time. So it's a really big event,
Mm.
lot of people. I'm only organizing the jumps. Vector and the other sponsors are doing the all things. But of course, if they need anything, because I'm Italian, I can help. And the drops on too, if they ask me anything, I can help. I like to help.
Mm.
I like to organize. I thought, it's fun to organize boogies.
Mm.
And now that I'm organizing the wedding, many people from my family and my friends, they were like, you're not gonna get a wedding plan person that helps you. And I was like, no,
Mm.
no. I think I can handle with my experience. So it's been really, really good. It's a good learning. And I have the support of my fiance families. They are great.
Nice.
They help me with, well, I still don't have a dress, by the way. And I just realized about the dress a few months ago because one of my friends asked me, what are you going to wear for the wedding? And I was like, I was in Puerto Rico, and where we live, we don't wear shoes.
Sure.
We are on the beach all day, every day. So I didn't even thought yet about the dress. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. I'm getting married in the church. I need a dress. I need a classic Italian wedding dress, So now tomorrow I'm going to look for a dress with a stylist here from my town. And you have to decide the menu for the wedding. You have to find hotels for everybody because people are coming from everywhere.
Sure.
Most of my American friends, Luis Prinetto, Tex and Alicia, lots of skydivers. They're gonna be here, so I have to help, to find a place for them. But they don't know my town, and my town
Sure.
is small. Everything
Boy,
is in a book.
your town is in for a hell of an invasion.
Oh yeah, I told to everybody. Every morning I go down to the town and I stop to get a coffee, the gelateria. I get pizza, and I tell to everybody, do you guys know that in September is gonna be 150 people here? And be ready. They are Americans, Cubans, Puerto Ricans.
It's going to get out of control.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, I absolutely guarantee if you organize the wedding like you've done your career in skydiving, it's going to be a success.
I hope so. I
I
really hope
have no doubt.
so.
Now, before we wrap things up, I want you to tell everybody, because you're there for a little while and you said you're going to be doing some coaching. And of course, you're coaching when you're not planning a wedding in Italy. How do people find you on social media? How can they track you down and come jump with you?
Yes, you can find me always on Instagram, Mancino Roberta, or on Facebook on my athlete page. You can write to me anytime. I try to respond to everyone. Any skydiving questions about even, how to start or what to do, what to buy, I'm always there, willing to help. And I will post the dates of the events. I'm gonna do a lot of raffles for LMB during the summer, so I will post also where we're gonna do those things. And I will be around Italy the whole summer in different drops on in Fano, in Nettuno, in Skydive Salerno. You will see all this on my Instagram page.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I'll actually get you to send me that info so that I can add it when this comes out, because I think this is going to come out, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks from now. So
Okay.
we'll be able to get a bunch of that information. But I
Cool.
cannot thank you enough for taking time this evening to sit down and talk to me. I know you're crazy busy and have all this stuff
Thank
to do,
you.
but it was fantastic to catch up.
Thank you so much.
Take care, Roberta.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye. Arrivederci.
Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Lunatic Fringe podcast, brought to you as always by, well, wait, not as always, actually. Brought to you now by Gyro. Formerly known as NZ Aerosports, you'll head to gyro.com for their next level line of canopies. By Pussfoot, the extreme sports collective. Head over to pussfoot.com to check it out. By Summit Parachute Systems. Check out summitparachutesystems.com to talk to Jarrett Martin and the gang about kick-ass pilot rigs, rigging courses, and more. By Flyaway Indoor Skydiving. Go to flyawaytn.com and check out all the cutting-edge stuff to come. By Pure Spectrum CBD. Head to purespectrumcbd.com to check out their wide range of CBD products. And as for us, head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com to listen to any of the hundreds of episodes currently available, hit the link for our YouTube channel, pick up your copy of the Lunatic Fringe book or The Accidental Stripper, and get a sneak peek at upcoming guests. Once again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Get on the floor, if you got